All right, number 7. Again, I'm not sure why it's called number 7 and not number 11, but that's my bad. Use the binomial probability formula to answer the question. A factory employs several thousand workers, of whom 40% are Hispanic. If 10 members of the union executive committee were chosen from the workers at random, the number of Hispanics on the committee would have the binomial distribution with n equals 10 and p equals 0.4. Okay, so they're blatantly giving us the values. Okay, so we need to complete this probability, this distribution. Okay, so they've done most of the work for us, but for example, the probability of 3 is left empty. Let me zoom in so I can write small. Okay, so for example, the probability of 3 Latinos on the committee would look like this. There's a total of 10 being chosen, and they just plain told us that n was 10. So we have to start off with 10, choose something. Okay, you know, in fact, I should start by labeling this. So I am finding the probability of x equals 3 right now. All right, which in the context of this problem means the probability of having 3 Latinos on the committee. So, like I said, first the combination. All right, total of 10. So I'm going to do 10, choose 3. Okay, since 3 is the number of successes that we're trying to get. Next comes probability of success times the probability of failure. Okay, probability of success, well, they said there were 40% Hispanic, and so that's a probability of 0.4. So that goes right here. If 0.4 is the probability of success, then what's the probability of failure? That's going to be 0.6. All right, these two have to add up to one whole. So this is the rest of the probability. If you need it, you can think of it as doing 1 minus 0.4. All right, but most of you can see that 4 plus 6 make 10. So 0.4 and 0.6 make 1. Anyways, now each of these probabilities, success and failure, needs a power to represent how many times we're going to multiply them. Well, it depends on the number of successes and the number of failures. As we already said, we're shooting for x to be equal to 3. That means 3 successes. So this is the probability of success, and we will do that probability 3 times. 0.6, this is the probability of failure. Well, if we know there's a total of 10 chances, if we have 3 successes, then how many failures will there be? Kayla?
What?
If there's a total of 10 and there's 3 successes, how many failures must there be?
7.
Clearly it's going to be 7 failures. So, probability of failure, the number of failures. And then you just put that in your calculator. If you put that in your calculator, it will look like this. We're doing 10, choose 3, times 0.4 to the third power times 0.6 to the, to the 7th power. So that is 0.2150 if I round this 49 up to 50 because of the 9. So 2150. Okay, so that's the probability of 3. Alright, now let's move on to the probability of 5. I'm going to change colors real quick. Okay, so now I am calculating the probability that x equals 5. Alright, that means the probability of having 5 Hispanics on the committee. So once again, the total is 10. Alright, 10 members on this committee. So I'm going to do 10, choose 5. Alright, that's the number I'm shooting for is 5. And then I will multiply probability times probability. This is the probability of success. Okay, that doesn't change, 0.4. And the probability of failure is 0.6. Okay, so notice this changes. Alright, if I'm finding the probability of x equals 5, then this will be a 5. If I'm finding the probability of x equals 3, then this will be 3. In fact, look, these are the things that change. This, and this. The powers, and the number that you're choosing. Alright, and of course these two are always the same. So really there are two things that are changing each time. Alright, the number of successes, which shows up in two different places, and the number of failures. And of course these two things I just highlighted have to add up to the total, which doesn't change. Okay, just keep that in mind of what changes and what doesn't change. Okay, so if this is 5, then this will be to the 5th power. Well, that means this will also be to the 5th power because it has to add up to 10. So that must be a 5. So simply put this in your calculator and you'll get the decimal. Alright, so what, this is the 5. So this is going to be 0.2007. Okay, let's move on to the probability that x is 7. Alright, 7 Hispanics on the committee. So I'm going to do 10, choose 7. Probability of success, 40%. Number of successes, 7. These two will always match. Now, probability of failure, and the power is the number of failures. If there's a total of 10 chances, there will be 7. If there are 7 successes, that leaves 3 failures for a total of 10. And just put this in your calculator, just like it is. And I'm getting 0.0425. Okay, it looks like one more. We need to do the probability that x is 8. Okay, so the probability that x equals 8. So that is going to be 10. Choose 8. Alright, probability of success, 40%. Number of successes, 8. These are always the same. Probability of failure, 0.6. The number of failures, well, we need a total of 10. If I have 8 successes, that means 2 failures. And then you just put this in your calculator. And that is 0.0106. Okay, and that's it. We've completed the table. Alright, now when they say check that it is a legitimate probability distribution, that means add up all these numbers, all of the numbers, and make sure that it's a total of 1. Questions like this are another argument for doing these calculations in your calculator. Because if you do, you know, a few button presses and it adds up all these numbers for you. Okay, I'm assuming it's legitimate. Let's pretend I added all these up and I got 1. Okay, so I think I will just write down. I lost my, there it is. So I'll just write down, hey, P0 plus P1 plus dot dot dot. You know, I should be writing x equals inside of all these. Alright, probability x equals 0 plus the probability that x equals 1 plus dot 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 plus the probability that x equals 10. Add up all those probabilities and you get 1. So there, I checked it. Make sure you better actually do it. What is the probability that exactly 3 members of the committee are Hispanic? Okay, always start with the symbols. So they are asking, what is the probability that x equals 3? Okay, start with that. Well, we just found that. That's 0.2150. Okay, that's exactly 3. What is the probability that none of the committee members are Hispanic? Well, none, that's 0. So that's the probability that x equals 0. 0 Hispanics on the committee. So let's see, probability of 0. That was given to us, 0.0061. Okay, what is the probability that no more than 2 committee members are Hispanic? No more than 2. That means 2 or less. Feel me? So always start with the symbols. So that means the probability that x is less than or equal to 2. Alright, no more than 2. That's less than or equal to 2. Now, when I have an inequality like this, I'm going to be adding. So the probability that x is less than or equal to 2, we're going to add up all the probabilities that are less than or equal to 2. So from left to right, that's the probability that x equals 0 plus the probability that x equals 1 plus the probability that x equals 2. Alright, these are all the probabilities, all the x values that are less than or equal to 2. 0, 1, and 2. So I add up those 3 numbers, and I'm just pulling them right off of the chart here. Okay, less than or equal to 2, so I'm adding these 3, which are the probabilities less than or equal to 2. So I'm just going to do that just off camera here verbally. So if I do 0.0061 plus, you know, maybe I better write it down, 0.0061 okay, plus 0.0403 plus 0.1209. Okay, now I'm going to add these off camera, so I guess I'll pause you. And I got 0.1673. Okay, what's next? What is the probability that at least 8 of the committee members are Hispanic? At least 8. that means 8 or more. So start with the symbols for full credit. So we're doing the probability that x is greater than or equal to 8. That's what at least 8 means. Okay, so let's see, what am I adding? Alright, at least 8. Alright, so that's over here. So that means I'm adding up these. Alright, these are the values that are 8 or greater. Alright, here's your at least 8. Okay, so I'm just adding up these three values, probability of 8, 9, and 10. Okay, and here's how you show your work. Alright, probability that x equals 8 plus the probability that x equals 9 plus the probability that x equals 10. Alright, there's your at least 8, 9, or 10. So just add up these three numbers, people. Alright, so I copy these three values right off the table. Okay, and then I just add them up. Okay, I'm getting a probability of 0.0123 for having at least 8 Hispanics on the committee. Alright, that's a little bit more than 1%, so that's not a really big chance of happening. What is the probability that at most 3 committee members are Hispanic? So at most 3, what does that mean, guys? Alright, that means x would have to be less than or equal to 3. At most 3. That's 3 or less. So let's see, where is that on the chart? Well, I already know what I'm going to have to add. This means doing the probability of adding the probability of x being 0, because that's less than 3, plus the probability of x equals 1, plus the probability that x equals 2. And because it says less than or equal to 3, I'm going to go ahead and throw in plus the probability that x equals 3. So I don't need to calculate anything. They're on the table. I just need to go up and write them down. So the probability that x equals 0, 1, 2, or 3. Okay, so I am adding these values. 0, 1, 2, or 3. Add those up. I got 0.3823. Is that what you got? Alrighty then. Oh look, I think that was the last question on the paper. Alright, so that is the end of this video, guys. I hope it was helpful. Keep on practicing. Alright, if you're one of my copiers, you know how it is, guys. You might get your homework credit, but when it comes quiz time and you don't know what you're doing, you're going to be feeling pretty stupid for copying off the video. Alright, of course, my true copiers just copy off the answer sheet. And they aren't even watching this video at all. What are you going to do?